My name is Kaya Durant. I'm a sophomore, and I'm in Arthur Ashe.
My name is Neil Flormon. I'm a sophomore, and I'm in Thurgood Marshall.
My name is Josephus Brown. I'm a freshman, and I'm in W.E.B. Du Bois.
My name is Macaw Ward. I'm a freshman. I'm in the house of W.E.B. Du Bois.
All right, so last year, I had Global 1 or 2 last year. And our teacher, we did current events every Friday, so he would tell us to look up something internationally, and we would look it up and share it with the class. So my memorable moment was when the bombing took place in Manchester, and everybody had that as their answer and stuff. So we all talked about it, how terrorist attacks happen and all this other stuff, and how this separates from us because we're not involved in it as a country. He would search up pictures and stuff about what went on, and basically he kept us engaged by explaining to us how these things occur.
Okay. It was this semester actually in my Algebra 2 class. So we had to remember the quadratic formula, and we had to do it in a time span of 2 seconds. The teacher promised us $20 if we can remember it within the time span. So I spent the whole weekend trying to remember it, and I did remember it because of that, but I don't think I could say it as fast as my teacher because 2 seconds, that's very hard.
So you were incentivized by the money that was provided to you?
Yeah.
Okay, I appreciate that.
One thing that my teacher, it actually happened this semester with my history teacher, Mr. Johnson. We were discussing the Civil War, and there appeared to be some students that hadn't gotten it yet. So he decided to get up and somewhat reenact what had happened, specifically the Emancipation Proclamation, by getting up, going over to a student. It's like saying going to another student's classroom, telling them what to do even though he's not the educator of that class. Now I feel like that helped a lot of students because they kind of got it now, and how white Southerners were not happy about President Lincoln emancipating their slaves even though they had no control over them anymore. And yeah, I feel like he chose a perfect example for that, and it helped a lot kids understand what was going on.
One lesson that I really remember was from last year in 8th grade. It was in my ELA class, and my teacher had us read a book called The All-American Boys, and that was a book that tied into our lesson about injustice in America, about how blacks are being mistreated and are being discriminated against police. So that book really gave me the insight on how it is to be a black person in America, and also how white people don't see how blacks are being treated. So that right there gave me a real good lesson and memory on how a black man is treated in America.
What were some of the strategies that were put in place that really drove home some of the points that you all just talked about?
All right, so being that we're in a history class and many people don't really like history, my teacher, the one thing he did was keeping us engaged was use technology. Being that kids are so hyped about technology these days, he used technology to help us stay engaged and focused.
Okay.
All right, so for my Algebra 2 teacher, what he does is every single homework, he makes it so he incorporates what we learned from what was in class, and he puts it on the homework so that way the kids or the students, they take what they learned in class and they apply it to the homework, and then he does the same thing every day where you're adding taking little steps onto how to actually accomplish solve the equations, and so it's practice makes perfect in a sense.
Okay. Thank you for sharing.
As I said before, my teacher, specifically my history teacher, like all my teachers, they can take stuff that we have learned in class and attempt to compare it to something that us students, it has happened to us in real life, something that we can relate to, so that we know how those people might have felt.
One strategy my teacher used was that she would have us take quizzes every day after we had to read a specific chapter, and you know, we had to take like 16 of those quizzes, so that really that could boost our grade and, you know, help us pass the class. And also we also had class discussions and gave our opinions on how we felt about the chapter and our intake on how it affects us in real life.
Okay.
So when we first heard of the quadratic formula, it was like negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. So the teacher said it extremely fast and no one understood what he was saying. So after that, I was just in a state of confusion. And as like the class continued, it was like, oh, so I applied, like everything like just started to make more sense as he like discussed it and like where to apply the information to. So I felt like I could feel myself growing and understanding the information more and more. And so like just that formula, it's like second memory at this point. So I remember it if anyone asks me right now.
My name is Nigel Hutton. I'm a senior and I'm in W.E.B. Du Bois. Well,
In your classroom.
a memorable lesson for me would be in my AP Learning and Composition, Language Composition. That's when I learned the truth really about affirmative action.
Okay.
To me, it was memorable because it not only taught me that what affirmative action really was, but how it's still racist in a type of way towards black people. It was an open discussion, so it was kind of simple strategies. He kept us engaged by calling on people who weren't speaking, and he also asked different questions or tried to target the different questions in different ways so we could understand it better.
Okay.
The efforts he was using was he brought evidence. He talked about the historical black colleges, he talked about colleges in general, and he talked about how a lot of times us people of color, we get jobs based off our skin color and our income, not because we qualify for it, not because we're educated for it, but just because white people feel that they owe us something because of slavery.
That was a loaded question and a lot of sensitive information, you know, being given to you all, given to you in particular in one, you know, space. So how did you feel during the entire time emotionally as you were learning this information for the first time in a real way?
I felt hurt in a type of way because I felt that I believed that affirmative action was something that was supposed to help us, not something that was like a pity for us. And I also felt optimistic. It made me wonder what other things in this government that we live in have been targeted based off our race and our income and not because of our mindset. And it also made me feel entertained. It enlightened me more.
But what do you feel you could do with this information as you think about college? You're getting ready to graduate from, you know, high school, and so like what are some of the ways in which you feel you can use this information as you continue to grow and mature as a young scholar and an African American male in particular?
I feel like I can use this information that I learned to not only teach others, such as like my little brother, to learn that even though things may seem more black and white, there's still racism in today's society. I feel like I can enlighten others and I can help enlighten my younger Eagle brothers and people around the world to know that just because something seems like it's okay, it's not really, or sometimes you have to look in depth in the rights or regulations that we have to really get the real fine definition of it.
Thank you so much.